Well, in a significant push towards cleansing the Indian politics, the Election Commission has proposed a lifetime ban on convicted Netas, saying that this is needed to curb the growing criminalization of politics. It has asked the centre to amend the law accordingly. But the government, it seems, is not in a mood to listen to this recommendation by the poll panel and has taken a different position, saying that a 6-year disqualification time serves the purpose. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court has also taken up the issue of cleaning up politics and has asked the centre to set up fast-track courts to expedite cases against politicians.
The way the criminals are now getting tickets and the way the assemblies and parliaments are now being filled with the criminals and the offenders, it's very difficult to run a democracy in a smooth manner. The money power and muscle power is the most important now. So I think it's a welcome move, and if it is implemented, so convicted, once convicted, should not be allowed to be elected or contest election. But in this case, one should, the way these people are being falsely implicated, particularly in our state, in West Bengal, we are seeing, and in national sphere also now is seeing this. And so it should be strictly scrutinized by an independent body, because the merit of the case also is now being doubtful. But criminals should be banned. That's okay.
इलेक्शन कमीशन समय समय पर ऐसे तमाम मूल्यवान सुझाव देता है। एज ए भारतीय जनता पार्टी प्रदेश अध्यक्ष उत्तर प्रदेश, इलेक्शन कमीशन के साफ सुथरी राजनीति की इस पहल के लिए मेरी तरफ से स्वागत है।
Haryana, it is atrocious. Teachers are forced to act as pujaris, and what is this? It is unconstitutional. It is unconstitutional. How a state government can issue such a diktat for teachers? You go and do the job of pujaris.
I believe the Election Commission of India has made a recommendation or a suggestion to the Supreme Court of India that people who have been convicted in criminal matters should be banned. There should be a life ban against them in contesting any election. I fully support this suggestion made by the Election Commission. Any person who has been convicted of an offence which carries a moral turpitude should certainly be kept away from electoral policy of this country, and they should not be allowed to become members of parliament or even the legislature.
So this is what happened on the second aspect of it, where the top court asked the centre what is the status of about 1,581 cases which are against the current MLAs and MPs, and what is the status if they have been if they can be disposed of within a year, or if there is a need to set up special courts, to which the centre then responded, we understand, saying that the decriminalization of politics has to be done. It is not opposed to the idea of setting up special courts. But when it came to the issue of whether the government is ready to bring in a lifetime ban on netas who've been convicted for a crime, the government seems to have told the court that no, we believe that a 6-year disqualification or a 6-year ban is more than enough and serves its purpose. So we ask this question to our viewers this evening, that if it is about Swachh politics, then should we not ensure that a chore or a rapist or a murderer is never allowed to enter our state assemblies or our parliament? Why should there be a limited time period ban? If you are corrupt, if you are a criminal and you've been convicted and it's been proven beyond doubt, then whether you have served jail time or not, why should that be a criteria? Sudhanshu Mittal of the BJP on the phone line. Sudhanshu Mittal, अगर हम स्वच्छ भारत की बात करते हैं तो स्वच्छ पॉलिटिक्स भी तो होनी चाहिए, तो कोई क्रिमिनल अगर है तो उसको नेता क्यों बनने दिया जाए?
स्वच्छ पॉलिटिक्स जब होनी चाहिए, at the same time the rule of law also has to prevail, ना? What constitutes a part of the constitution cannot get changed because somebody says it. There's a due process of law. without changing
Talking
the
about due process
constitutional
of law,
provisions.
Mr. Mittal, it's not
Let
to
me
say
finish.
that, a news
Let me
channel
finish,
today
please.
sits up and decides to ask you and it will become a law. The fact is that this is being discussed in the courts, and we are
It
being
doesn't
given to
matter
understand that the
no,
government
courts
is
are
of the
not-
view and has told the court
sorry.
that a 6-year ban is more than enough. A 6-year disqualification is enough. A lifetime ban is not needed.
Yes, because the courts cannot decide this. They cannot decide what the provisions of the Constitution would be. And the government is duty bound to uphold the provisions of the Constitution as it stands today. Unless the Parliament in its wisdom changes the Constitution, I mean, are we going to be in a state of anarchy where anybody and everybody can decide what will happen in this country? This country has to be guided by the Constitution, and the provisions of the Constitution have to be respected.
So do you think this should be taken up by the Parliament?
Absolutely. This is something which falls under the exclusive domain of the Parliament.
No, I'm not. Mr. Mittal, this is not. I don't want to make this a debate about executive versus the judiciary. The debate that we are having is about clean politics. Do you believe that your party should bring this proposal to the Parliament and say that there should be a lifetime ban on a convicted criminal, on a convicted chore, on a convicted rapist or a murderer, that no such person should be allowed to enter the Parliament? That is the question.
I don't think it can be the case of anybody that a murderer or a rapist or a dacoit should be a part of the Parliament. This can't be the case of anybody. I am more worried. I mean, yesterday I welcome what the Supreme Court has done, which earlier had negated what the government was trying to do. The government had proposed that let special courts be set up to try the cases of people who are elected representatives but have been charged with criminal offense, so that we are able to cleanse politics of criminality. You know something, this is what happened 3.5 years back. And the same was stayed by the Supreme Court and said, no, this cannot happen. Why should there be a special provision for the polity? Now today, 3.5 years later, the same wisdom has now dawned upon the courts. The unfortunate part is we have a knee-jerk reaction to everything. These are not issues which have to be tackled in a knee-jerk fashion. These are
not issues that have to be tackled in a knee-jerk reaction, but these are issues that have been pending for decades now. It's not that the Parliament has shown or the elected Netas have shown any kind of initiative to bring about this cleanup. So please don't try and make this a fight about judiciary versus executive. We are asking a very simple question. Swachh Bharat की बात करते हैं तो स्वच्छ politics के लिए आप क्यों नहीं ले आते ऐसा proposal? Priyanka Chaturvedi also on the phone line with me. Thank you, Sudhanshu Mittal, for speaking to us.
This statement, it is a false statement, and you have no business to make a false statement. As an anchor, you are duty bound at least to come out with truth.
What is the false statement? Please go ahead.
This is a false statement that this has been pending. It has been pending before whom?
Why don't you bring about a legislation? If you haven't, then obviously you've not showed any initiation, right?
There is no constitution. Please, allow me. There is no constitution amendment which is pending before anybody.
Why don't you bring about one is my question to you.
You are making a misstatement that it has been pending.
No, you have not understood what I am saying. If you would just listen to what I am saying, Sudhanshu Mittal, I don't know why Netas get so worked up every time there is a talk about stricter rules for them. I don't know why Netas get so worked up when it is about stricter rules for them. I don't know if you've understood what I said. Let me clarify it one more time. Why don't Netas, our elected MPs, bring about a proposal and an amendment to the Constitution to ensure that somebody who's been convicted of a serious crime is never allowed to enter the Parliament? That is my question to you.
And you've raised that question.
And I have raised that question 3 times with you, and every time you've tried to make this a debate between the judiciary and the executive. That wasn't my question to begin with. I appreciate you speaking to us. Sudhanshu Mittal, thank you so much for taking the time out. Priyanka Chaturvedi has been also on the phone line. What's your party's stand, Priyanka Chaturvedi? There is a proposal that has been made. Supreme Court has also taken up this issue, is asking this question: should there be a lifetime ban?
Absolutely, there should be a lifetime ban, and if you would remember, our stated position was very clear. However, it wasn't well accepted when Mr. Gandhi tore off the ordinance which gave them relief. We were the ones who stood by the entire Supreme Court decision at that point in time too, that convicted criminals or convicted MPs cannot be in the Parliament or cannot get a ticket to contest again. And we stand by it. It is surprising that the Bharatiya Janata Party, which made such a big issue out of it during their 2014 campaign, is now taking a U-turn on this as well. And it's hardly surprising, simply because highest number of BJP MPs have serious criminal charges again, as far as they're concerned, against crimes against women, recorded against women. Their MPs, 51 of their MPs have serious charges against them. So perhaps they fear that if something like this comes about, their winnability factor would reduce. So it is unfortunate and I would say hypocritical of this government to take a stance such as this.
But Priyanka Chaturvedi, if that is what the party, Congress party believes, then why in so many years when you were in power, nothing was done about it? I mean, after all, if this is a decision that has to be taken by the parliament, why hasn't it been done in all these years?
Just to let you know, the parliament, as far as the parliamentary democratic structure is concerned, the democracy is forever evolving. Expectations of the people is something that parliament should be wanting to live up to, and considering that they have been elected on the basis of these promises that they had made to the electorate, I think the Bharatiya Janata Party is duty bound to implement it. And I can assure you, if we are to come back to power in 2019, we are going to take this up. If we are a maturing democracy and people expect some kind of, respectability coming from the elected representatives, so we must respect that and ensure that clean government comes along with clean elected representatives.
All right, Priyanka Chaturvedi, thank you so much for joining us. There are two aspects to what we're discussing here at Mirror Now today when it comes to Swachh politics. First, should there be a lifetime ban on convicted netas? Criminals who've been convicted by the court, should they be permanently banned from entering our assemblies and our parliament? Right now, the disqualification can extend up to 6 years. The second aspect, should there be special courts set up and special rules made so that netas who are facing trials, those trials are also expedited and they don't go on for years and years while the netas go on to be in a position of power? Those are the two key questions that the top court is considering right now. But we believe that it is up to the netas also to come out and take a clear stand on this issue. Swachh politics must happen by the netas themselves.